Cheevo, guys!
What up, guys? This is
Cheevo, guys!
back here again with another video. Today, I'm going to be showing you guys how to play Bleeding Edge. This video is going to be for beginner Bleeding Edge players, people that are barely diving into the game or thinking about diving into the game, or maybe even people that don't own an Xbox that are just interested in finding out what the game is about. So first and foremost, Bleeding Edge is an online multiplayer game. There's no story mode or campaign. It is online 4v4. At launch, the game has two different game modes. We have objective control and power collection. The game does not let you choose your mode, so you just play online and you have a 50-50 chance of playing either mode. I'll be explaining each of these modes in this video. For now, I want to talk about characters. At launch, the game has 11 characters available. Each character has their own basic abilities, specials, and supers. Characters are also split up into 3 different classes: damage characters, support characters, and tank characters. Your basic abilities can be executed at any time. They don't require any time to recharge like your specials. Some of your specials will require a couple seconds to recharge, so you can't simply spam them over and over again. Depending on your character's ability, some of these require 5 seconds to reload, up to 15 seconds to reload, depending on the ability. Each character definitely has its own playstyle because they have their own basic abilities, specials, and supers. So as you learn to play with characters, you want to make sure that you take advantage of all of their moves. I'm actually going to be uploading video guides for each of the characters on how to play with each of them. Your super is your special move in the game. You can only choose one of your 2 supers. So once you start up the game, you're going to choose which one you want to roll with. If for some reason you want to change it during the game, when you die, you can press up on the D-pad. You're going to choose your character again and then just choose the other super if you decide you want to change it in-game. As I mentioned before, each character is different. For example, Zero Cool can heal people constantly. It doesn't have any timeout or recharge on his healing ability. You can heal as much as you want. You definitely want to make sure that you check out the abilities for each of these characters because there's a lot of stuff that the average player doesn't know. For example, with Zero Cool, you could double tap A, but the second time you press it, you want to hold it, and you can actually hover and fly in the air for a while. This really helps with escaping enemies, especially considering that Zero Cool is pretty slow. However, I do highly recommend Zero Cool. I know some people don't like him, but I actually played most of my matches with him. He's really one of the best healers. The key to using Zero Cool is to shoot your enemies, lock on, and be flying backward away from them. And as they get close, use your wall to set some distance between you guys. I'm going to dive more into some tips and tricks with Zero Cool in my Zero Cool video. Anyway, let's talk basics. So the biggest tip I could give you for Bleeding Edge is stick together. You absolutely need to stick together in this game. It's 4v4, so there's no way that you're going to be able to take on 2 people by yourself, 3 people by yourself, or 4 people by yourself. It's pretty simple. If it's not one-on-one, you're going to get jumped and you're going to find yourself dying a lot. Next, let's talk about everything that's going on our screen. So above on the left, you're going to find your teammates and their health bars. And then on the right side, we're going to find the enemy team and their health bars. In the middle of both of the teams, we're going to find the score for the match, whether it is objective control or power collection. In this instance, it's objective control, so it shows our score on the left and their score on the right. In objective control, it's first to 600. Each second that you control a control point, it counts as 1 point. You also get points for kills. And on the upper right hand side, we have the map. Definitely want to make sure that you take advantage of this. This shows the location of your enemies and your teammates. Again, stick together. Next, on the left-hand side, you're going to see notifications pop up when kills have been taken place. Hopefully you have your name on the left-hand side, not on the right-hand side. That is because the person on the left killed the person on the right. On the bottom left-hand side, you're going to find your HP bar. This is your health. So ultimately, you can look at your life bar on the top HUD or on the bottom left. Now on the right-hand side, you're going to see a percentage with a progress bar around the circle. This is your super meter. Once it fills to 100%, you're going to be able to press LB to activate your super. Once you use your super, whether it hits or misses, you're going to have to wait for it to recharge back to 100%. On the bottom right-hand side of the screen, you're going to see your special abilities. So here, you can press RB, Y, or B button for your special abilities. Each character has 3 special abilities, and every character uses their special abilities using those 3 buttons. After you use one of your special abilities, more than often, you're going to have to recharge it and wait a couple seconds till you can use it again. Alright, and that's the basics in regards to what you see on your screen. Next, I want to tell you how to jump on your board. So if you're not on your board, you can hold right on the D-pad to jump on your board. Not every character has a board, however the characters that don't are augmented to have a boost. So either way, if you want to move fast with your character, you can hold right on the D-pad to either boost up or jump on your board. Next, I want to let you know that you can change your character mid-match if for some reason you're getting owned with the character that you selected. You can press up on the D-pad after you die and you can pick a different fighter. There is no limit on how much you can change your character. All I want to suggest is that make sure your team has a healer. Every team should have a healer, so if nobody's been the healer yet, I suggest selecting one. Next, let's talk more about the supers. So to execute your super, you need to make sure that the super meter is at 100%. Once it's at 100%, you could press LB. As I mentioned before, each character has 2 different supers. You have to choose which super you want activated in the beginning of the match. Some of these supers are really beast mode. For instance, Gizmo turns into a mech and has a flamethrower that does a ton of damage. Or as you've seen before in the other clip, Maeve has like a homing rocket. Attack is so beast mode. It's one of my favorite supers in the game. Definitely want to make sure that you test out both of the characters' supers and see which one fits best for you. And I want to touch on this subject again just because it's uber important, and that is stick together. Really the only scenario that you should be going away from your teammates is if somebody has little to no life left and you're trying to make sure that you kill them. Sometimes you'll find that people run away and you'll have to follow them to kill them. Just make sure that you don't go too far from the group because somebody in your team may be getting jumped and need your help. Also, personally, I think to win in this game, every team needs a good Zero Cool. Zero Cool is such a good healer. He can just be doing the healing beam all the time to all of the teammates, making sure that everybody has health. Like, if you're healing one of your teammates while they're in battle, there's pretty much no way that they're gonna die because you're constantly healing them while they're taking damage. So if you want to be a good teammate, select Zero Cool and make sure that you're healing your teammates all the time because more than likely you're gonna win. I want to talk about the 2 game modes, starting off with Objective Control. So Objective Control is very similar to King of the Hill in Gears of War if you guys have ever played it. We have 3 different checkpoints located across the map. Sometimes they're activated, sometimes they're not. You can see which ones are activated on the top middle of the screen or on the map. Whichever team dominates these checkpoints wins the match. You have to own the checkpoints for a total of 600 seconds. Kills also count as points. If the objective checkpoint is blue, that means that your team currently owns it. If it's orange, that means the opposite team owns it, and you can go stand above it to change it to your color. If it's grayed out, that means that nobody has captured that checkpoint yet. Best way to win this mode is to group up above the checkpoint. If you have all 4 of your teammates above the checkpoint and you have 1 healer, then you guys are going to go beast mode and you're going to get a victory almost every time. That's really the key to success in this game. Have a good healer and make sure that you group up. Follow those 2 simple rules and you're sure to get a ton of victories. Really what you want to be doing in this mode is finding the orange checkpoints and making them blue. Because when an objective checkpoint is orange, that means the opposite team, your enemy, is gaining points every second. And obviously that's not a good thing. There is an achievement related to capturing 50 checkpoints. So if you change any checkpoints from gray or orange to the blue color, you get credit for 1 checkpoint each time. Really an achievement that you're going to end up getting naturally. Just keep playing the game, being a good teammate, capturing objectives, and you're sure to end up getting that achievement. Now, the checkpoints aren't activated 100% of the time. They actually deactivate for 20 seconds, and then they activate for a minute and a half, and then it just goes on that cycle. Matter of fact, when you first start an objective control match, the checkpoints don't actually activate until 2 minutes after the match starts. So you're pretty much just going to be fighting for the first 2 minutes. If you decide you want to be the healer on the team, I recommend being a Zero Cool. You could double tap A to fly up. You want to get up on an upper platform and then heal your team below while they're in battle. This will also help you get your achievement for healing 200,000 HP, the first aid achievement. You can really rack up a lot of healing points by healing your enemies while they're taking damage. Because as you can see, there's a real battle going on downstairs and I'm healing my teammates while they're taking damage and I'm gaining constant healing points. I think in this match, I got like 18,000 healing points, which is like 10% of the achievement in one match. So those are some tips and tricks to help you win an objective control match. Next, we have our second game mode, which is called Power Collection. In Power Collection, you must collect power cells and turn them in for points. The first team to turn in 50 power cells wins. Kills also count as points in this mode as well. When the match starts, power cells are going to spawn on the map. They spawn in groups of 3. You simply need to go hit them until they explode, and then you can collect the power cell. What you want to do is collect the power cells, and then eventually the turn-in point is going to activate. Once that turn-in point activates, we want to stand above it, and we'll be able to turn in our cells. Luckily, the map on the upper right-hand side of the screen shows the location of the power cells. I found that most people in this mode typically get in a group and start fighting, so if you really want to collect the power cells and gain your way towards the battery powered achievement for handing in 100 power cells, then you typically have a pretty good opportunity to get away from the group and collect the power cells. Now, this advice does go against my number 1 rule, which is stick together. However, I guess if you're going for an achievement, it's okay. Collecting the power cells is really the easiest part. The hardest part is holding on to them long enough and not dying to the point where you are able to turn them in successfully. If you have a good team and you're all sticking together above the turn-in point, you guys should dominate the turn-in points, and eventually you're going to clear the area and you're going to be able to deposit those power cells. But you definitely don't want to start depositing them until the area is clear, because if somebody hits you while you're depositing them, it's going to restart the upload bar. It takes about 10 seconds to get your power cells uploaded. You have to make sure that you have the opportunity to spend about 10 seconds without getting hurt or attacking anybody to turn in these power cells. I think the most cells I ever turned in at once was about 24, and that's because if you kill an enemy, they drop their power cells. So if you happen to collect like 10 power cells by yourself, and then you kill 2 enemies that also collected power cells, you can find yourself holding on to a lot of power cells. And that's when it gets really nerve-wracking, making sure that you turn them all in, because nothing is worse than dying with 20 power cells and dropping all of them and seeing your enemies collect all of them. Now, luckily, Ninja Theory didn't make the achievement related to the power cells too difficult. We only have to turn in 100 power cells total. I think the average person is going to turn in like 8 to 12 power cells per match. So ideally, this should take, about 10 to 15 matches of power collection to get yourself that achievement. Again, I recommend sticking together, but another one of the exceptions to that rule would be turning in power cells. Sometimes a turn-in point will activate on the opposite side of the map, maybe that a huge battle is going on, and you'll be able to make your way without getting attacked, to that turn-in point to be able to turn in your power cells successfully. I mean, if it means turning in more than 5 power cells, you have the right to break away from your group and turn them in. Other than that, guys, that about covers all of my tips and tricks for the basics on Bleeding Edge. As always, I appreciate you guys tuning in. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment. Don't forget to like and subscribe.